If you already disliked and distrusted social media, well, get ready, folks, because it's about to get much, much worse. A plan is allegedly in place in places like Facebook and Instagram to fill the dying platforms, perhaps with artificial intelligence profiles that will make you think things are blossoming, blooming, growing, and showing you that, well, it's a vibrant place to be, when in fact, you're about to be faced with an overwhelming army of social media AI agents. We'll tell you what the new media is up to right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and no bots are welcome here. Not unless you're going to take this and take it to your AI overlords and say good things about us, in which case, well, okay, hello bots. Folks, we are not bought nor paid for, and that's why we are not here to shill for any media company. Instead, we're here to break down the truth for you as best we can. All we ask in return is that you click the like button. Facebook, perhaps even MySpace, GeoCities, heck, everybody might be coming back online, filled to the brim with artificial intelligence profiles. Could get worse, though. Might actually be a huge problem when it comes to online dating. Could be the beginning of major scams. And we'll be telling you what's coming your way and why you might want to scram from the platforms endorsing this sort of thing. It's about to get very interesting all across the internet as your favorite entertainment social media platforms may be flooded with AI fake accounts. And this time, it's coming from the place that really counts, the companies that own them. This from Culture Crave, it says Meta confirms that they plan to add tons of artificial intelligence generated users to Instagram and Facebook. They will have bios, profile pics, and can share content. Here's the quote. We expect these artificial intelligence, and I'm going to add here agents because that's what they are. We expect these artificial intelligent agents to actually, over time, exist on our platforms kind of in the same way that accounts do. They think this and other artificial intelligence products they are rolling out will help attract and retain a younger audience. With their new tools, users will be able to create these AI profiles, which are agents. 100,000 plus have already been created, but creators have kept most of them private. Meta's rules currently state that AI-generated content should be labeled on its platforms. Examples of AI-generated profiles. It gives this one, Brian, who gives relationship advice and posts pictures that indeed look like Brian is a real person, but Brian is not. Full disclosure, folks, I am not an AI-generated person. I am really real. Here's the deal, though. This is fascinating to me because we've been watching as Facebook/Meta, Instagram, some of these other platforms seem to be decreasing in power. Like everybody back in the day had a Facebook. Now it does not feel quite that same way to me. Facebook is sort of, it's in the periphery, right? And I think that Facebook could be easily on the way out. It might be the next MySpace. It could be the next GeoCities. So the idea here is that you don't have to be destroyed. You can just flood your platform with these fake people, these AI accounts. And the problem, of course, with that is that if you're going to flood your platforms with these accounts, then I don't know how you're going to generate the advertising money. But what you do manage to accomplish is it makes people believe that you have a vibrant, thriving community when it's all being made by fake digital people. Panel, is this a weird world of creepy that's on the way to us?
Yes.
Walk us through, Tabitha. What do you think? I'm specifically thinking too, and I'm not going to make a condemnation or a promotion of this, but online dating. Can you imagine if places like eHarmony, and I'm not suggesting they would do this, but can you imagine if these places are flooded and 90% are these AI agents that are not real at all, and they're just there to bring you along?
That's a gross feeling, but that sounds possible.
Well, they already have apps where it's AI girlfriends and AI boyfriends. So people have been like catfishing for years. So it's just easier now with AIs to generate some kind of an image. Like what was it that poor football player that, was It wasn't with AIs, but it could have made it so much easier where he was like dating this woman he had never met, and it turned out to be like a guy that was his cousin or something like that.
Oh,
Poor guy. And I'm just saying, so stuff like this has been going on for years. AI is just going to make it easier.
I think you're talking about Bill Belichick.
Mm,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, folks. So here's okay, you're right. So people have been catfishing with fake profiles. Now, with these agents, the AI can literally be set to the task of just doing this. But what's so strange to me is that it appears that the platforms themselves are embracing this. So like Zuckerberg on a massive scale is apparently, allegedly, Tabitha, I did it, considering catfishing lots and lots of people with friends that, well, they're not real people friends. They're digital friends. So he's not catfishing people with boyfriends or girlfriends, but with friends. And so you can actually have, think about the person who is sort of antisocial and doesn't have many friends on Facebook, but they want to have hundreds of friends who worship their every step. This could do that. And it feels gross to me.
Yeah, it's not okay because it's disassociating
Yes.
from ourselves. Like we are no longer, like, more and more people are becoming introverted. As an introvert myself, I understand this, but we're comfortable and we're okay, and we're generating more introverts simply because we're not teaching our children and our friends how to overcome, be better versions of ourselves. You can, like I said, as an introvert, and I've shared my story with people numerous times, where horribly, painfully shy growing up, didn't know how to really interact with people, just awkward. But I had people in my life who encouraged me to find what it was that I was good at. Like, people said I was friendly. So then they were like, okay, this, that, and the third. Like, my pastor, one of my pastors put me on the greeting team at my church. I didn't think I would do that. And eventually I did that. So I had to learn social skills. The thing is that we mask introvertness as some kind of disability. It's more of a personality trait than it is anything. It's not a disability. It is not a disability to be introverted, but we're making it as if it's a problem. It's more of like just a part of yourself that you have to learn to deal with and overcome. And if we don't interact with actual people, then when we have several generations of this, they will not know how to interact with actual humans, because AI don't have feelings. They can generate the idea of feelings, but people are unpredictable, and that's how we have to learn to navigate one another socially. And so it's dangerous, this idea that we can have fake friends, because the real friends will push us out of our comfort zone. They want to see us grow. Eustace Bajel, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, one of my favorite quotes is, "True friendship is the strong and habitual inclination of two people to promote the good and well-being of one another." AI is not going to do that.
Right.
And so you're going to decline as a society because we won't know how to talk to one another. We already see that now, that men and women don't even know how to go on dates anymore.
Right. No, exactly. And by the way, and it really speaks to some ways society is degenerating. But so I see AI as like fire. And I know that AI is going to exponentially get stronger and stronger as we go forward. I look at it as fire. So when we manage to get the ability to manage fire, it both cooks your food and it burns down your villages. So you have tremendous potential for good and for harm.
Yeah.
This to me seems like just flat out harm. Like, I don't think it's a great idea that people can go on Facebook and say, "Oh no, this is there are tons of accounts on here. They're all fake." We're just saying that. I'm not suggesting that's real, but that's a potential future. And I don't think it's good, as you're suggesting, that people would have a horde of friends, quote unquote, that are AIs, because the AIs would likely be programmed in such a way, directed in such a way, as to placate you and your basal needs and desires so that they can monetize that to the best of their ability. So, as you said, what do you want out of a friend? Well, the average person is pretty darn, what would you say? pretty darn narcissistic.
I'll just point out
What?
something.
Not me. I'm just
Even
kidding.
in insecure people, there's a level of narcissism in all of us, even if we don't think very highly of ourselves.
Mhm.
The thing that I see is there are so many people in this world that that don't have a healthy social relationship. I'm also an introvert when I say this, so I am not recharged by large social settings,
Mhm.
especially if I have things I'm supposed to be doing that are not necessarily congruent with those social settings. Like if I'm watching kids in a social setting, ouch, better look out because I can't do both at the same time. I am either pretending to do one and
Mm.
or pretending to do the other. But when we talk about this, there are so many people that are, and I've been here myself when I say this, that they can interpret any level of kindness and friendliness as romantic. And
Right.
I think that's the real problem here when you talk about AI representations on social networks presenting themselves as real people here.
Well,
Whereas Twitter is in this thing where they're supposedly fighting against bots.
Mhm.
Facebook and Meta are over here saying, no, 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 more bots.
okay.
If it's
Well,
already an
I'll
unhealthy platform,
So,
I,
so to
well,
that,
I'll add to the discussion. I know this will probably shock people out there, but yes, I am an introvert. I'm forced to be an extrovert at times when there's things that I want or situations that I put myself in. Like I do not like going to parties. However, if I am throwing the party, that's a completely different scenario. But what Facebook is doing with this AI is they're creating a very, very fake environment. Facebook is dead for the most part. I don't know anybody that's really over there except for really old people who are still rehashing 40, 50-year-old beef. I mean, it's not some place that's engaging that that you want
Lorena,
to
isn't that
go.
bizarre too? Lorena, isn't that bizarre that they said that Elon Musk was crazy when he bought X, and yet X is where everybody is right now, and Facebook, Zuckerberg's baby, is basically just catatonic.
It's dead. Threads was dead when it started. I don't know anybody who hardly uses that, but it seems like they're using these AIs to basically try to make Facebook, a more attractive option. But what they're basically turning it into is the holodeck from Star Trek. Remember when, I forget which I
Yeah.
forget which dude it was who he got hooked on the holodeck.
oh,
Why?
Barclay,
Mhm.
Reginald
Yeah,
Barclay, even Janeway did that
all
mess.
yeah, it all feeds into what you want,
Yeah.
not with how a real relationship would work. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but it's a good
That's
example.
good.
Like when Data started quote unquote dating and he
Mhm.
was running subroutines, and it's just like humans do not run on subroutines. That's not how that works.
Well, life needs to have positives and negatives. I had a pastor that one time talked about that too. If your life is always positive, you're not living in reality. And if your life is always negative, you have a serious problem. You need both of them in order to grow as a person. And
Mhm.
it's a perfect example with being addicted to the holodeck. It's like computers are going to try to navigate people. Like if they're going to try to get to know us, it's always going to try to be on the side of benefiting us in I would say in a negative way, where it's like, oh, this is what they want, this is how it needs to be, let's generate this because the endorphins will create this. Whereas human interaction, sometimes it's not friendly and sometimes it's not desirous. And then much that's the thing that's missing in our society these days is maturity levels. Like we have to take the time. Okay, this person said this, I didn't appreciate that, I want to have a conversation with that person. And then that other person will have to humble themselves. Computers are not going to teach humans how to humble themselves. It's always going to be for our quote unquote benefit of what
Right.
makes us happy.
So
Or
Tabitha,
the idea, it's like getting to know the person who's trying to sell you a timeshare. Not much of that information is going to be used for your benefit. It's going to be
right.
used for their benefit in order to sell
Right.
you a timeshare.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to be business. It's going to be all about the money. They're going to use AI. How can we basically treat humans as little cash machines? Because we really don't care about their
Mhm.
feelings, about development, about it's going to all go back to money and elitism.
And so Tabitha, you've really helped me articulate this point better, because what I was trying to navigate towards, and you've expressed it better, and now I know how to do that as well, is the the idea that if you have, let's say, 1,000 people, but they're not real people, they're AI agents on Facebook, and they're programmed to spend, however much time, post, private message, message. And their entire purpose of being is to say exactly what keeps you on Facebook the most.
Yeah.
And that's by being a friend that never tells you anything you don't want to hear, but always tells you the things that would keep you on the platform the most. Well, the problem there is, and there's plenty of problems, who is the most likely to be on the platform for the longest amount of time and thus generates the most content or the most monetization? People who are already susceptible to having fake friends who will tell you anything you want, and thus you'll stay on forever.
I would rather have real fake friends. Thank you very much.
I mean, that is a part of development and personal growth. Without having fake friends and learning how to navigate that harsh truth or reality, we don't learn how to coexist with one another. It's not ideal, but of course, as a believer, follower of Christ, we understand that we live in a broken world. So not everybody's going to be perfect, and we have to learn how to navigate that from personal standpoint, the way Christ would want me to, because it's never going to be easy to deal with people. Like, this idea that we're trying to make a perfect world is such a farce, because as long as there's real people in the world, it's just never going to be perfect. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because again, it goes back to developing relationships, personal growth, maturity. There are things in life that happen because we're not meant to stay stagnant in our personal life. We are meant to always be achieving and growing. And when we stay here in virtual reality, there will be no growth.
It's a great point. For the CEOs out there listening and the CTOs listening, bottom line, we love AI when you use it to help us research topics online and fetch those for us. AI is great if there's a car that pulls out in front of me and the AI in the car helps me swerve and avoid it at a rate that I could not. But maybe let's not do the thousands of digital sycophants worshiping and groveling at the feet of the most susceptible people who would love that the most. That's a bad place to be. Let's not do that one. Good night, game over, drive home safely. Folks, this video is done. But before we all head home, we only ask one thing. Folks, as you get ready to head on out, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and share your thoughts, for a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Waste not that beautiful personality of yours. And folks, we would say, as you get ready to head out the door, that it has been an honor to spend time with you, an attitude of gratitude each and every time that you elect to join together with us. Breaking bread and breaking entertainment, well, the industry. No, we like entertainment. It's the industry that irks us sometimes. Well, it was a good time. We hope you had a good time. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.